privilege to interview Mr. Salil Singhal, Chairman of PI Industries. So let's begin with you telling us a little about PI Industries.
We began our journey in the agrochemical industry. So the business was started in 60s, and in good old days, we had to go for a registration under DGTD, the Director General of Technical Development. He had to decide whether anybody could set up an industry and was technically capable of doing that. So we have come a long way from there. So in the 70s that went on, we then gradually started our marketing efforts on a private sector, on a private basis, by creating a whole network of dealers, distributors, retailers throughout the country. And now over a period of time, we have created a distribution setup of about 35,000 sale points with almost 8,000 distributors and dealers. I always believe that a business will grow if your products deliver what they claim to deliver. So you've got to be very committed to the products that you manufacture, to the quality, to the consistency of its performance. So, according to me, unless you have a good product to sell, it doesn't work. The second thing that you require is to create a team of people who are committed to the cause of building your company's organization and marketing setup. That's again a very critical requirement. And we have had some outstanding people who have served our company for years and years together, have grown with the company. And the third important factor, which I strongly believe is in having very clear, transparent, and consistent marketing and sales policies. In agrochemicals, the business is something like pharma. You have formulations and you have active ingredients. So we graduated into active ingredients manufacturing somewhere in the mid-80s. And one of the factors of getting into that was that our company had established a very good research and development center. And I remember that we applied for the first one to DGTD again. And you know, it used to take about 2.5, 3 years to get a DGTD approval. God help this country, and that's why we are where we are today. We could have been there 20 years ago if we had done it better. Having said that, by the time we got and we had tied up for know-how supply with somebody. But having 2.5 years in our hands, we started working at home. And we could work out a manufacturing process for that product. And then we went into manufacturing another 3 or 4 of them. I looked at 2 key strengths that our company had. Our key strengths were number 1, R&D, and equally, if not more important, was our strength of being a very strong company with integrity, transparency, and a company which could enjoy the confidence and trust of anybody who dealt with it. Whether he was an investor, whether he was my customer, whether it was my dealer, or he was my supplier, or he was my employee of our company. This was our strongest point. And at that time, we were representing a Japanese company for importing some of their active ingredients to formulate and sell in India, which is still done by many of us, including PI. So in 95, I began looking for businesses, particularly in the markets of Japan. And let me tell you, it's one of the most difficult markets. And we started tapping the markets of Japan because we had a reputation as a company. So I think it all boils down to entrepreneurship, self-confidence, and let me tell you, you cannot build a business unless you have integrity. And that integrity has to be within. One can always make an error of judgment, but never make an error of intent. Don't do things with a questionable intent in mind. And if that is clear, and if the Almighty is with you, you cannot fail. That's my belief. And as you see, our business is B2C and B2B, very well defined. So it gives us a good leverage on either side, depending how the mood and the business is.
Yes, so you talked about de-risking, investing aggressively in R&D, and not being, not thinking twice about what you want to do. You have to be aggressive in entrepreneurship. So will the next phase of growth come for PI Industries?
I mean, we are always on a growth phase. I don't know what's the next phase. I mean, we have been growing, profits are growing at almost 100% for the last 5 years. The turnover has gone up from about 400 crores to now, in the 9 months, it has done about 900 crores. We should close and we are seeing almost 30%, 25-30% growth in our CAGR. And you're right, as you come to a higher levels of business, a lot of newer opportunities come your way by way of possible acquisitions. Maybe it could be technologies, manufacturing, businesses, and we are constantly looking at them. And hopefully, if something materializes which fits into our processes and our thinking and our budgets, we will go for it.
So you are absolutely a veteran in this space, and I can't let you go without asking this question. We see a lot of action happening in the agrochemical space of late. Now, we saw a company called Sri Ramicides being sold to a Japanese company, a PE-backed sellout. We also saw Everstone Capital picking up stake in Crystal Crop Protection, the Gurgaon-based company. You know, as someone like you, an industry expert, what are the major trends that you see, you know, in the agrochemicals business going forward?
Well, you see, this industry had a very low growth, I would say, in the 20th century. Mm-hmm. You know, it is really in 2002, 2004 that we saw a huge amount of focus come from the government on the agricultural sector. As the media, and that is my interpretation of this, and I don't think I'm far from wrong. I'm fairly right on this. As the media and the reach of the country at large went to the rural sector, from expectations of prosperity, it went to aspirational expectations. The aspiration to grow. And it is very clear that nobody can grow, this country cannot grow unless there is inclusive growth in the rural sector. And the rural sector growth has to focus on higher agricultural productivity and value add to the entire agriculture value chain. The second important significant landmark, if I may say, has been the passing of the Patents Act in 2005. You know, it's been going on for a long time. So now India is partners to the patent regime, which permitted a lot of multinational companies who are already operating here to introduce a variety and host of newer products, which itself has given a lot of fillip to the business, because these companies come with newer products, then they do a lot of good marketing work, and there is much more benefit to the farmer. The solutions are better. There is a bigger basket of solutions available, so there is healthier competition, and healthier competition, to my mind, always grows business. Business cannot grow unless there is healthy competition. So that has been a second game changer. And third is that a lot of money is now being poured into agriculture. If you see it in terms of government policies, the National Horticulture Mission, you see the Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, the National Agriculture Innovation Programs, the various programs, the effort being put in for introduction of hybrid varieties of seed, the direct seeded rice requirements, so a lot of these things are happening together, focusing on agriculture. You look at the ITCs, the Godreges, the Shrirams, the works who are putting up shops in rural areas for distribution of agrochemicals, fertilizers, bank credits, buying back crops, trying to give value addition. And if you just spend a little time, the amount of work that is happening on agriculture is tremendous. So with that focus, it is obvious that input industry is bound to get the necessary benefits. So it's fertilizers, pesticides, seeds, drip irrigations, and what have you.